Hi, and welcome to another episode of Starship Gaming. Well, we are back into full swing for 2020. As you know, the previous episode, which was a preview episode, we're back. And, to start out 2020, we technically already started it out with a video about the Fifth Element video game, but I'm going to do something a little different today. We're actually going to discuss you already see it on screen, Fester's Quest for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, Fester's Quest is kind of a unique game in a way. Let me start out. Recently, I was able to acquire a cartridge of Fester's Quest. I had not played this game since 2004. The last time I played it was at a cousin's house. He had a copy of it. I don't remember if we ever beat it, but I recently picked up a copy of it for about $4. And I've been playing it on my top-loading NES at home, or NES, if you want to say that. I call it NES. I know some people say NES, or for SNES, SNES, but So here is this. Here's a photograph, I guess you could say, of me playing it last night. And the thing is, it's a really good game. A lot of people have gave it a bad rep over the years for being a bad game. It is challenging. It is somewhat unforgiving. At least, the thing is, there's a lot of good things with it, and there's some bad things about it, But it is, to me, it is a good game. If I had to place it in my top 10 list of best NES games, I would probably place it at about number 9 on that list. Number 1 being the best, of course, which I would probably place Super Mario Bros. 3 as number 1 on that list. But I found myself playing this for, it took me about an hour to beat, and it's not a bad game. Let me start out with the bad things that are, about it. One of them is you got a life bar. When you start out, 2 hits, you're dead. Whoop-de-dee. Another thing about it is that the weapon itself that Fester uses in the game, it makes it difficult when you're trying to squeeze around a corner and you have an enemy there and your weapon's just not reaching them, because it just collides with the wall. Of course, from my understanding, they fixed this in the European release of Fester's Quest. That's something that I dislike about it, and it is bad. I would consider it a bad. Of course, any skilled player can get around that, but if you're fairly well adjusted to the game, you can beat it in about an hour and a half. I've seen some people beat it in about 50 minutes or so. It depends on how good you are at it. It took me probably about an hour, 15 minutes to beat it. It's just a really strange premise for a game. Let me explain. It starts out, Uncle Fester is out moonbathing. And he just, all of a sudden has to deal with an alien invasion. It's kind of strange. And the thing is, it's based on the 1960s television program, The Addams Family. The characters, as they appear in the game, are all based on their 1960s live-action counterparts. Of course, several years later, we would get games based off of the live-action Addams Family film, or I should say films. And they're not bad. I've played them before. I prefer the Super Nintendo version of the Addams Family, based on the movie. It's a pretty great game. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of reminds me of Super Mario Brothers in a way, but that's just my personal opinion. But some people have actually said that they hate the game or they dislike it, and you have to remember, this was at a time when TV and movie licensed games were all the rage. Of course, Sunsoft was responsible for a good number of ones, especially if you played the Batman video game based on the 1989 live-action Batman film. It's a pretty good game, actually. But that was just one of several that Sunsoft was responsible for. Of course, Sunsoft was at one time going to license, or I should say, was going to try to get the license for other movies. One of those is, for example, the Terminator. But yeah, some people have considered this a really bad game, and then others seem to like it. So it really polarizes the audience to the point that nobody knows. Well, obviously somebody knows, but there's just so many different opinions on this game out there that, you know, you're going to get a different opinion from every person. And something else that makes me kind of wonder, why have they picked, of all characters, decided to make a video game about Uncle Fester when they could have easily done one about, you know, for example, Lurch, or even Cousinette. Yeah, Cousinette. They could have just called it Cousinette, Cousinette's Quest, Cousinette has a bad hair day, Cousinette goes to hell. You get any kind of license, people are going to buy it. So they knew what they were doing back then. Today, people have tended to catch on, and it doesn't work like that anymore, for the most part. I think that the reason why is that everybody felt screwed over after the Iron Man 2 video game. At least that's how I feel. You know, for movie licensed games. Yeah. And now it is time for Steven to go on a quest, as it is time for Steven Says.
Idea! So, Brandon wanted me to talk about Fester's Quest because he just talked about it, and he was trying to think, like, say, Steven, why exactly did Fester's Quest get chosen? Why did Fester get chosen as the main character? Well, from my understanding is, well, the movie wasn't out yet, because it was out, it happened in the 80s, and the film didn't come out until 1991. And the guy that, basically what happened was, the creator of the game, he searched out, like, say, the wife of the creator, and just says, hey, can I sound lead write this? I'll make a game. I'm thinking one reason he chose Fester is because, well, maybe he just thought, like, Fester would be the most out there, and maybe he just thought it'd be silly. And I'm thinking if he chose Pugsley, maybe he would have thought, okay, Pugsley, cool character, but then maybe someone else would have thought, okay, you're clearly trying to go off some, like, say, a Bart Saves the World character kind of game, because, you know, kid character, trying to save the world from aliens, and all that. So you have an adult character in the case of Fester. Maybe that's the reason why. In the game, he uses a ghoul blaster to get rid of goo. Maybe they could have done Lurch, but then again, he would just been a walking, hulking Frankenstein, and then it would just been silly. They have used Gomez, but Gomez was used in the game based on the movie for the Super Nintendo. So that didn't come out until like later in the 90s. So that couldn't have been done yet. So this one was more based on the TV show, I think. Cause like in the bit of like say the like in the intro of the game, like say some of the thing, it uses stills from the TV series. So maybe they were trying to do that because they thought, okay, this is still popular, people are still into Amscoins, so maybe they could use that part. So maybe it's more based off of that one, and maybe they just thought, okay, Gomez is not Gomez, but Fester is just a silly character. Maybe we could do about that because, I mean, but NES was back during the time period though when you mostly just had like say squeaks, squeals, or like say sound bites that was like say, "Hey fellas, we're in the wrong game," from like, or say, "Yeah, it was Festers," or something like that. Like you just have like little sound bites, so it's not like they could have had a game where it was, you know, him talking, so they had to use audio, or just kind of like go, aliens. So maybe they just, because they done Lurch, they were just going, or Post, we were just going like, eh. Wednesday, I don't know, she was just going, Gomez would just be going like, dang old aliens, I don't know. But I mean, really, in all honesty, I don't know. I mean, all honesty, I feel like they just chose Gomez just because, Fester, because it would have been, you know, kind of eye-catching because, you know, the fan base, character, I really don't know. But that's just one reason. Maybe it's because of the interesting concept.